Today on Comics, Cartoons, and Coffee, I'm going to be discussing one of my favorite releases from the dawn of DC era from DC Comics, that being Batman 900. It's a perfect prospect for this little series that I do, so I'm really looking forward to sharing my thoughts on it. 'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute, go for a ride down the Hi everyone, welcome to the StudioJake vidcast, Comics, Cartoons, and Coffee. This is sort of a separate project from my main vidcast. This is where I talk about, well, comics, cartoons, all while enjoying a delicious brew. So be sure to like the video, share it out to all your friends, leave me a comment what you think, and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell to get notifications when I post a new vidcast, and consider becoming a channel member. If you want to support me in the work that I do, head on over to my website, studiojakemedia.substack.com. The link is in the description of the video. It is where you can subscribe at different tiers that unlock different perks. And today on Comics, Cartoons, and Coffee, I am going to be discussing Batman 900, or at least that's its legacy number. It's actually technically Batman 125, but I'm going to be referring to it as Batman 900 since that is its legacy number. Now, this actually isn't the original cover. This is a variant cover from Joe Cascado, who's a very talented artist, and for a while he worked for Marvel. Then he's done some stuff for DC. So I'm going to put the original cover on the screen so you can take a look at it. But this is actually a really great cover by Jorge Ramirez. He did a fantastic job with it. Okay, so what does this comic entail? So basically, Batman from the main Batman universe, he is trapped in this alternate dimension, or a multiverse universe, where he has died. Bruce Wayne is no longer in existence, and Alfred and some of the members of the Bat family sort of lead like a resistance against some criminals. Now, in this universe, Red Hood never became the Joker, so now he's just a masked criminal called the Red Mask, and he is a genius. He has, through a dimensional portal that he built, seen what in other universes the Red Hood has become, that being the Joker. He is envious of this, and he wants to become that violent psychopath who has no regard for human life and just sees humanity as a big joke and crime as a joke to be played on humanity. So he enters this dimensional field, and Bruce Wayne follows him. What he is shocked to find out is that he is kind of one step behind Red Mask. He's also wearing kind of this bizarre costume. His original costume was destroyed, so it's more armor-based, and it doesn't really look like the costume we all know and love. He's chasing after Red Mask. He keeps entering different dimensions and encountering some Batman who have already defeated the Joker. He eventually makes his way to the Batman Beyond universe, where old man Bruce Wayne gives him a disc that will allow him to return to his home dimension. Right after this, the Joker from Return of the Joker appears, and this original Batman continues to pursue Red Mask. He is feeling a little guilty because he feels that he is causing these dimensions where the Joker has already been defeated, or maybe he's a more lighthearted criminal where now he's this violent, raging psychopath, and it's being affected all across the multiverse. Eventually, he encounters Batman from the Arkham games, and this is set in between Arkham City and Arkham Knight, where basically this Batman expresses that he has no regrets for letting the Joker die of the disease that he was infected with. Now, also along the way, the costume, the armor costume that the original Batman is wearing, and I'm referring to him as the original Batman because he's from the main DC universe. That's why I keep saying that. I'm not saying he's the original. I just mean in the story he's the original. I want to clarify that. Now, along the way, his costume keeps getting damaged. He keeps running into other Batmen who will give him a piece of their costume, and eventually he finds his way to the Millerverse, or the Dark Knight universe, depending on who you ask. The Dark Knight, the larger Batman who is tough on criminals and will even scar and maim them. He won't, deliver an execution, but he will definitely make sure they don't forget just how brutal he is. He gives him his top, which is, the Fat Bat, made popular by Ben Affleck's portrayal of Batman in Batman versus Superman Dawn of Justice. He ends up in the universe of Batman 66, where he meets the Adam West iteration of Batman. He explains what's going on, and this Batman looks down and realizes that he's missing his utility belt. So Batman 66, being the chum that he is, takes off his utility belt and says, I don't know much about the multiverse, but I know that every Batman needs a utility belt. Finally, the original Batman, he gets pulled into this pocket dimension where Red Mask is there. He is angry that Batman has prevented him from becoming the Joker, and he has created these Jokerized great white sharks that start attacking Batman. Batman is trying to survive. He's avoiding these sharks, and there's this really great scene where he's like, I need to see what's on this utility belt. And what does he pull out? He pulls out that infamous Bat anti-shark repellent. The Cape Crusader kind of smiles and says, I finally met a Batman more prepared than me, and he sprays the sharks. He then proceeds to beat up Red Mask and says, you are the most pathetic version of the Joker I've ever encountered. So after knocking out Red Mask, he's kind of in a conundrum because he still has the disc from the Batman Beyond universe. If he uses it on Red Mask, he strands himself in this pocket dimension. If he uses it on himself, Red Mask is left behind and he starves to death. There's no food in this pocket dimension, and he's sort of debating what he should do because he knows that the universe he came from, there is no Batman. What if Red Mask figures out a way to become the Joker and terrorizes us? And he's having this conflict. He's debating, but he has his one rule. He doesn't want to end the life of anyone, not even his worst enemy. Just when all hope seems lost, a bright light appears in this pocket dimension, and Tim Drake emerges. Tim Drake still in his Robin costume, although it looks like he's kind of gotten away from the red Robin look, but it's Robin nonetheless. He starts kind of chastising Bruce and saying, it took a long time to find you. You've been lost for a really long time. Where have you been? What's going on? And then all of a sudden, Bruce hugs Tim Drake in an embrace, and he says, thank you for saving me, Tim. And that is how the comic ends, with Batman embraced in my opinion, his greatest Robin. So this story was written by Chip Zdarsky with artwork from several different DC Comics artists, and I was just blown away by it. I thought it was a fantastic comic. I thought it was great. I just thought it was a fantastic story. It was oversized since it was number 900, Legacy Publishing, like I said before, but I really enjoyed it. I thought the story was really well told. It's a shame that Chip Zdarsky didn't stick to this sort of version of Batman. He immediately went in and started producing some of the worst Batman stories that you could possibly imagine after this. But this was a good dedication to the Dark Knight. It really returned Batman to his roots of wanting to stop the Joker, even going beyond dimensions to do it so that other people wouldn't be harmed, other versions of Gotham City. And then, of course, one of the things that a lot of modern writers do, because they were inspired by Frank Miller, and this isn't a dig at Frank Miller, this is a dig at other writers' creative bankruptcy, but that is how Batman treats his sidekicks so poorly. That's not how it was in the 80s and 90s. Batman still respected his partners. And yes, he was harsh with them and he was hard on them at some points, but he still cared about them and he saw them as members of the Batman family. And I just love how the conclusion of this did that. This is one of my favorites to be released during the Dawn of DC event. And let me tell you something, that was a desert. There was not a lot going on. It really made you miss the New 52 and the 1 year later universes. But this was a solid story. I have to give credit where credit is due. It really moved me. I know the title says it broke me, and that's true. It did make me tear up a little bit, especially when he embraces Tim at the conclusion of the story. I highly recommend you get this story, especially if you're a Batman fan. It has a worthy place in your collection. I think you're going to enjoy it. And yes, I know that DC hasn't been the best when it comes to making great Batman stories, but this is definitely up here. Now, I can't speak for the story that it's tied to, because apparently there was a lot of events that led up to the main DC Batman being trapped in the dimension where Bruce Wayne has passed. I don't know anything about that. I am speaking specifically of this single oversized issue from Dawn of DC. And I think that it is one of the best. It certainly is one of the best that Chip Zdarsky has ever written. I know that's a low bar, but as far as modern tales, this is where it goes. This is where it resides. I really hope that you pick it up and that you read it and that you enjoy it. I really hope you enjoyed this edition of Comics, Cartoons, and Coffee. If you did, be sure to give the video a like, share it out to all your friends, leave me a comment on what you think, and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, ring that little bell so you get notifications when I post a new vidcast, and consider becoming a channel member. If you want to support me in the work that I do, head on over to my new website, studiojakemedia.substack.com. The link is in the description of the video. I have even more pop culture articles and a ton on Batman, including some Batman reviews. You can find all sorts of stuff there. You can subscribe at different tiers that unlock different perks. I'm going to thank you in advance for doing that. I really appreciate it. On that same website, you can find a conveniently titled Buy My Book section where you can pick up one or all four of my novels. They're all available all over the place, but you can find them all on Amazon.com. Check them out. Leave me a 5-star review. It really helps out small indie creators like myself. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake.